everyone. So I think we'll just start getting rolling. We might have some people joining as we're going through. Thanks so much for joining us for this format webinar about selling your work online, getting ready for the holiday season. My name's Stanzi. I'm a format expert. I'm also a visual artist. Also with us on the talk today is Reagan McDonald, who's the head of Formats CX. I'll be giving the presentation. Reagan will also be kind of manning our Q&A area. We're going to stop at a couple of points for questions if anyone has anything, but if you want to keep track of them in the QA box and just type them up there as we go through. When we get a chance to pause for Q&A, we'll go through everyone's questions. So I think we'll just get started and people will kind of float in as they go. So as I said, my name's Stanzi. I'm a professional artist with a long history of selling my work, but I'm also a format expert. Before my time at Format, I also worked as a gallery director for many years. So the principles I'm going to be sharing today in the webinar are sort of tried and true principles that I've seen work for people for selling their work and really organizing yourself in your small business for selling online. The timetables I'm going to give in the webinar are just a suggestion, but they'll really help you organize yourself. So the first part of the presentation is going to be going over schedulings and strategies for selling your work. And in the second part, I'll go into the Format app and show you some of our tools for selling, marketing, and communications. And these tools all come free with your Format account, which is great. The biggest takeaway from today will be about how to create a workback schedule for selling, which means starting from your delivery date and then working back through all the things you need to do to effectively sell your work online. So what is Format? You're here, so I'm sure you're a little bit familiar with us. Format's a web platform designed for photographers, artists, designers, fashion, film, really any creatives that need a visual portfolio. But the nice part is that because we specialize in these kind of creative portfolios, we have the marketing, selling, and communication tools streamlined for those kinds of businesses. So we'll be going through some of those today. The kind of talking points we're going to be talking about today is workback schedules, promotions and emails, pricing your work for sales, tools on formats, and follow-ups. So the first area we're going to talk about is identifying key selling dates. For some of the members that I've worked with on Format, their store is a year-round focus, meaning the store is like a primary part of their website. They're working on selling through their website as a primary part of their business. Others use it as a side part of their business, of their website, and structured around key dates like art markets or exhibitions. But regardless of your selling model, creating a calendar with key selling dates really helps you to structure your promotions. We don't want to be inundating our mailing lists and our contacts with promotions constantly. So I find picking a few key dates throughout your year helps you really structure your promotions, and then you can get ready without stressing about it at the last minute. Of course, a really common practice is planning around key or major holidays when people are looking for unique gifts. So that's what we're talking about today. So we're going to use Christmas as an example, or the winter holidays. We all know that selling really happens in November and December. But in order to get ready for those dates, we really have to start website building and inventory building now to get ready for those promotions. So here is a list of sample dates that I'm made up for myself. This is how I would kind of structure my year of promotions. So looking at today, I'm getting ready for my winter holiday sales with my target delivery date of December 20th. Then after that, I would go into Valentine's or Cyber promo. For the Valentine's holiday, those dates would be like January 16th to February 1st. Then I'm going to do the One of a Kind show in Toronto, which is March 27th, and the Toronto Outdoor Show, which is in July. So those are two physical exhibitions I would do. And while I would have some online promotions, it's maybe not like completely focused around my store. But then I would follow up with those with an end of summer kind of cyber open studio where I'd do a big online sale promoting any work that didn't sell through those exhibitions. And then that brings me back to August of 2024, where I'd start my calendar for my holiday promotions again. So for me, there's those three big online sales that I would do throughout the year: winter holidays, Valentine's Day, and my end of summer sale. And that's giving me time in between to prepare inventory and get my next cycle of promotions happening. So to work up to those dates, I'm going to create a workback schedule. Workback schedules are just what they sound like, starting with your end date and working back through the key deliverables on your project and figuring out the time that you need to complete each task until you get back to your starting point. And again, the dates I'm going to show here are just a suggestion. Your own workback schedule will be really different. It totally depends on the kind of work you make. Some factors to think about is the time it takes you to produce work. Some people might be able to do more promotions or less, depending on their kind of timeline for production. The time for external production, like printing, maybe you're getting framing or mounting done. And then shipping timelines, like where you're located versus where you're shipping to. All these things will factor into your own personal timeline. So I thought I'd create like a mock schedule for you, taking you through how I would plan for deliverings for the Christmas holiday. So if my delivery date is Christmas, which this year will fall on a Monday, I really want my last possible delivery date to be a few days before that. This is really good practice to account for last minute shipping issues. So with this in mind, my last possible delivery date is December 20th. That's when I want it in my client's hands. You also want to factor in that shipping takes longer in the holidays. So for my calendar, you'll see that I gave myself a week for local delivery. So that means I have to have packages out by December 13th. And for national or international shipping, a cutoff date of December 6th, giving myself 2 weeks for deliveries. So with my shipping dates in mind, I then want to look at my promotion schedule. So really factoring that in. So you'll see that I have my last possible, or my last big social post on December 12th, kind of saying last call for orders before my final shipping date. Actually, I'm just going to open up my schedule here. Oops. There we go. Okay, that might be easier to see them all together. So really, I've created this 6-week window for promoting around the key selling dates for the holidays. I'm starting with a private email blast to my mailing list and subscribers, and then kind of giving myself a week for major social blasts that would go out on all of my channels. So you'll see that on November 1st, I'm saying that I want to do a private email to my mailing list and subscribers. If you have someone's email, it probably means that they are familiar with you. It means that they are part of your mailing list. They're like a personal contact. Maybe there's someone that's bought your work before. I find for these kinds of promotions, it's really nice to send out an advance promotion to the people on your mailing list. So I'm starting out November 1st, sending an email to them, giving them maybe access to a private page on my website or a price list of the work that's going to be available for sale on my website. Then November 7th, a week later, I'm sending them an email reminder saying like my public sale starts today. Also starting social media blasts on Instagram, Facebook, whatever channels you use. A week later, my second social media blast on November 15th, my third promotion on November 29th, and then I'm doing another follow-up email on December 6th with reminders for my shipping dates. And for this email and for these social posts, I would be really explicit with the cutoff dates for shipping, saying like cutoff date for local deliveries is this date, cutoff for national and international is this date. This creates a really a sense of urgency in your messages. Some people might do more social media posts throughout their sale. I'm doing one big blast a week, but with those posts, you can do things like stories, behind the scenes stuff as well. But these are really like the core social media posts where you're going to have images of work for sale from your sale, and we'll get into the marketing materials in a little bit. So the next thing on my mock timeline is the writing design of my email and social campaigns. Some people might like to do this throughout the process, but I really find it helpful to kind of lay out my 6 weeks of promotions, knowing which pieces I'm going to target every week. This will also give you some time to maybe create a bespoke banner, some graphics that will go along with my promotions, which we'll get into in a second. Then I'm giving myself at minimum a week to photograph products, to do some photo editing, and get those products on my online store. Oops, sorry about that. And then inventory and site building. So I'm giving myself a month. A month is not a long time to produce work, but this is sort of operating under the assumption that I'm creating year round, but giving myself a month to finalize work, maybe get work to from my printer, things like that, to really make sure that I have all of my inventory in place. This will also give me some time to either create or update my website with all these images that I'm making for my sale. So this brings me into marketing materials, and I just wanted to offer a few tips for structuring emails and social posts. So tips for emails, like I said, emails will be going out to your mailing list. If you have someone's email, they probably have some kind of familiarity with your work. I find it really great to offer them something beyond just the sale. Like, of course, the main thrust of this is like, I want to give you access to the sale. But if it's a holiday sale, I would maybe offer them kind of a reflection on what's happened in the studio, maybe tell them about any exhibitions, like treat it like a bit of a newsletter. Thank your mailing list for their interest, and maybe think about offering some kind of special access or deal on your sale. Like, are you offering them special access before you open it up to the public? Are you offering a discount? I think adding in some kind of reward to your audience on your mailing list can be really great, because that encourages them to stay tuned to your mailing list. It encourages them to pay attention to your promotions, and also encourages repeat sales. People really like to feel that their interest in your work has been valued. I'd stay away from super businessy language. Of course, you can structure it with language about the sale, but in these kinds of things where people are following an artist's work, they don't want to feel like they're being sold to too heavily. So keeping it about your practice and updates of that kind are really great. Don't feel like you have to be too Christmassy in your language, thinking about holiday sales. In your language and your aesthetics, I don't think you have to lean too hard into the idea of the holidays. It also can help your promotion stand out. That time of year, everyone's putting like holly wreaths and pine trees on everything. Don't feel like you have to do that, especially if it takes away from the aesthetic of your work. If that works for you and you're super into it, go for it. But don't feel like you have to do that. Some artists do it in different ways. There's a landscape painter I know who did a great holiday sale where he focused on winter scenes, and that gave it a bit of a holiday feel without kind of taking away from the aesthetics of his paintings. And the last tip is having unique visuals or designs for each email and post that you send out. There can be repeats of images between emails and posts that you send out that day, but make sure if you're taking 6 weeks to promote a sale that you're offering people unique content each time. People are going to start to tune out if they see the same image 6 times, and each post is really an opportunity for you to highlight another piece from your sale. Some tips for social. Again, like, make sure your posts are unique. There's also a lot of different ways you can use social media to your advantage. I know, like, for example, there's a jewelry designer that I follow who does a really great job of this. She'll use her Instagram stories to do little videos of behind the scenes tours of her studio leading up to sales. She also makes really great use out of different tools that come on with the with stories. Like, you can do countdown timers for your sale. You can also add in things like calendar reminders, letting people know about key dates. It's a great thing to do at the beginning of your sale, but it's also a great thing to do at the end when you're reminding people about your delivery dates, or your delivery cutoff dates, I should say. Some other tips that I had here is consider formatting your images with text that you have about the sale, like creating a little banner. So while you're showing an image of a piece, Maybe you have a heading or a banner that goes in one corner, letting them know that this piece is available in your holiday sale. Again, in your final post, be explicit with the language of cutoff dates for shipping, and help capture those people who have been considering for a while but haven't bought something. Creating that sense of urgency or scarcity in your post can be really helpful to get people engaged. Any burning questions so far about workback schedules before we get into the next area? Do we have anything on the Q&A there, Reagan? Not yet? Okay.
Nothing yet.
All right. Just checking. Okay, so valuing your work. I get asked this so often by artists that I work with, and there's really no formula for pricing your work. Of course, there's a few things to consider, but one thing that I always suggest is coming up for a base value of your average size, and then working from there to figure out a calculation based on different sizes and finishes. So some things to consider for pricing. Your cost of materials, your cost for marketing and packaging. This is one thing I see creatives not factoring in a lot, is the packaging for their work. You might, if you have really delicate work, you might need like $40 worth of packaging to ship your work correctly. Make sure that is reflected in your pricing. And the last but not least is your time to produce the work. So often I see, especially emerging creatives, really undervaluing their time. It can be a hard thing to price your work. So take a look at what your colleagues are doing. I know when I was first starting out, I would go to shows of my friends, take a look at the price list, go on Etsy if that's kind of the level you're operating at, and see how people are valuing things in their stores. But make sure you have the confidence to kind of set a fair market value for your work. Here's just an example of how you'd work out costing based on size. So say I'm working in painting, and an average size of a work that I work in regularly is 18 by 20, and I've worked out a price for about $500 for that painting. I can then figure out a price per square inch from that painting by taking the square inches and dividing it by the price. So that gives me a price per square inch of $1.38. So then if I'm looking at a smaller piece, like a 9 by 12, that's 108 square inches, I can then do a calculation to figure out the relative value of a piece of that size. This calculation is only a starting point, and you do have to factor those things in, like marketing, packaging, and all those other things, but it helps you to figure out a consistency based on the scale and finishes of your work. I'm going to get into some tips for selling with format and get into the platform a little bit, but I wanted to also just go over some of the tools here. So format has two different ways that you can sell your work. There's the format store and format's prints marketplace. I'm going to get into the format store more because this is directly built into your website tools, and it's also a very flexible tool that kind of applies to all creatives. But the Formats Prints Marketplace is a great tool as well. The key difference here is that the Format Store is a self-fulfill option where you handle the production and shipping of the work yourself. It's a commission-free e-commerce space, whereas Formats Prints Marketplace is really for photo and digital images that you then set up on our Prints Marketplace, and our print partners, Guten, handle the printing and shipping on your behalf. So it's the inventory is made to order. So just a benefit snapshot of each of these tools. So the Format Store, you can sell any physical product, service, or digital download. Of course, there's a caveat, like they have to meet our terms of service or all those things. But any of your kind of like paintings, ceramics, photo prints, that kind of thing. Services, people use it for anything from photo shoots to workshops. And digital downloads, we see a lot of different uses. A lot of photographers use it to upload folders of images that they're selling to a client. I've seen designers use it to sell Photoshop presets, or even things like one artist, a digital artist on the platform, has used it for selling screensavers and things like that. So lots of different uses. The format store is connected through PayPal for easy international payment processing. It's a self-fulfill, meaning that you handle the printing and shipping, but it means that you can choose your own production facilities and your own printing options. There's no commissions taken on the sales from format for sales, so you keep all of the profits. I wanted to link a few examples of great format stores, and it also just kind of shows you the depth and breadth of the different kinds of shops we have on format. So these examples, Natalie King, an amazing artist, uses it for Giclée prints. She uses her website to show off her paintings, and then she sells multiples of her work through her format store. Liz Pede is a weaver. She sells these amazing woven blankets, but also will sell workshops through her website. Alexis Walsh is a fashion designer. She sells her jewelry through her website with her online store. And James Wicks is a photographer who sells his photo prints. Also, just to say, these are all live links. After the webinar, I'm going to email a PDF copy of this presentation. So you'll have all these live links. You can check out all these great websites later. So here's just a quick overview of the Prints Marketplace. This is for photo and digital images only. Someone asked who the printer is for Marketplace. We work with Guten Labs. We have a really great help article on format that I've linked to, where we give information about Guten. The Prints Marketplace is connected through Stripe for payment processing. It's an auto-fulfill option, meaning that our print partners handle the printing and shipping on your behalf. So after you make the sale on your website, you're really not handling the infrastructure at that point. There's no upfront cost for production, meaning that it's fulfillment on demand. There is a small commission though. So there's 15% on our Pro plan and 5% on our Pro Plus plan. And you can see the production cost upfront on your Prints Marketplace interface so that it will help inform you as you're setting the price for your work. This is one of my favorite Prints Marketplace profiles of Naomi Darren Boyd. She makes these amazing kind of retro collage pieces. So I'd recommend you check her out when you get a chance. So just a tip that I like to give in all of my presentations is really about curation equals confidence. This applies to your website as well as your online store. So having a curated selection of work really shows that you have an eye. And I recommend always don't overwhelm your visitors to your site with every image you've ever created. The same holds true with your promotions for your holiday sale. Having a few targeted images for your promotions that show the depth and breadth of your practice, keep it really exciting. Okay, tracking your contacts. We're going to get into this with the format mailing list when we get into the app. But this is so key because growing your business is connected to growing your audience and your contact list. Social media is a big piece of this, but once you get people into your site, using your mailing list or pop-ups to capture their info. Once you start making sales and building relationships, Format's workflow of tools really help you with that contact management as well. So we'll touch on some of these tools in a moment. And we'll get into social media connections as well. And now I'm really going to take you into the Format platform. I've added in on the slide deck some other tools that I love to share with everyone about tips for setting up and launching your website, like connecting your domain, looking at SEO and social, all that great stuff, as well as some video tutorials for tips and tricks based on different professions. Another area of Format's website that I love to point out to people is our customers area. It's broken down by profession, and it's a great place where you can look up websites from people who with the same specialties as you and see how they've used the platform and how they've used all the tools like online sales. And another area I always love to point out is our spotlight submissions. For all of our promotions, we love highlighting the work of our members. So make sure you submit your website so we can see your amazing work and how you're using the platform. I'm going to get into the app and show you some of the tools, but any questions so far from anyone?
We've had some good questions come in via the Q&A window, which I've answered via text, but I can also go over them now as well, just so everyone gets that info.
Sure.
So one of the questions, which I believe you answered later on, was, does Format take a percentage from the sale?
Mhm.
So Format does not take a percentage or commission for sales via the Format store feature. So that's the store that's you would fulfill the orders for yourself, that's built into the Format dashboard. There's no percentage or commission taken via the Format store. For sales made with the Prince Marketplace, a commission is taken, and this range is based on your subscription level. Another question was, what do we use as the printer for our marketplace?
Yeah.
So we use Guten to fulfill orders, and then they partner with labs that are across the world, and they'll seek out labs that are the closest and the most efficient way to deliver that purchase to your customer.
Yeah.
And then we also were asked for a site review in the Q&A here. So if you ever want our team to take a look at your site and offer any feedback on your progress, or how you have your store set up, or anything like that, you can contact our support team at any time. We're always happy to help you improve your site. You can reach us at any time via email at info@format.com, or you can reach us via live chat, and you would just click the chat icon, which is in the bottom right-hand corner of your Format dashboard. And that's all the questions we've got right now, but you can feel free to submit any more, and I'm happy to answer them in the chat there or in our next Q&A
Sure.
break.
So for the purposes of today's chat, I wanted to create a sample website that would show you some ways that you can integrate your holiday sale into your website. One thing I would suggest always is, when you have a big promotion that you're working on, switch up your homepage to really reflect that. So I'm working on Sarah James's website, who's a painter that I made up. And I've created this banner on the front of her website talking about the holiday sale. So you'll see I've got a CTA, like a call to action telling people to visit my sale, but I've also done a highlight link with some featured works from the sale. I've used our custom page images with live links. So these are actually links that go directly to her different store products. So if anyone sees something on her website that they like, they can click the live link, and these are connected directly to her store. One hot tip I would give is, if you have a series of images you are promoting through social, make sure those are your featured images on your homepage as well. So say I have 4 to 6 images that I'm using for all of my promotions, those will be the images that I would use on my website as my key featured images. And then, and as they sell, you can also switch those up. But what I like about this approach is that it's a curated selection of work that shows kind of the breadth of her different series that she has available for the sale. Another key thing that I've added to this page is a join my mailing list. It's a great practice to just have a mailing list subscription on your website at all times, so you can be collecting those email addresses, but especially on any pages that you make for your holiday promotions, make sure you have this kind of mailing list thing set up. So if we go into the Format app, I wanted to show you some of the key tools here. I won't get into too much of the general website building because we're focusing on the store today, but if anyone has questions about that as well, feel free to put them in the Q&A. If we go into, so you'll see in our dashboard, we have the portfolio area. We've got pages where we create our website pages, design where we can change the look and layout of the website, and then the store area. So we'll get you to select your country and connect to your business PayPal account. But before I do that, I can start adding my products. If I go to add a product, it will ask me to give it a name. Yep. And then it will take me into my product options. First is the product availability, so I can keep things unlisted before I'm ready to release them online. I can have them as coming soon, which will make them visible on my store, but people won't be able to purchase them yet. Available in store, which is their live product, or sold out, which I can set it to once I've sold the product. You can also, in your product settings, have them listed to go over to sold out once they've sold out. Like when someone's purchased the item and it's met the quantity you've made available for that product, it will automatically list it as sold out, but you can put that on there yourself. Then we can do product type. So there's physical products. You can sell like prints, t-shirts, paintings, ceramics, whatever you like. Digital product, which will allow me to add a file download, or a service, which will allow me to add in service details. Physical product is the one that has the most kind of bespoke options. It will get me to add in a cover image. I can upload a new image, but I can also grab stuff directly from my format portfolio. This is sort of my hot tip, is that you can grab any image from other pages on your website or your storage folder. So if I go into the paintings here, I can grab my image. And this will be the key image that you'll see on the main page of the store. But then I can also add product images. These are really handy for if you're selling something like a piece of ceramic where it's helpful to see different views. It can also be really helpful to show your work in context. Show your painting on a wall in a room so people can get a sense of the scale. There's also a lot of sort of image generator apps online where it will help you insert your image into a room. Like you can get access to these images of like beautifully designed rooms that your paintings are put in situ in. And those can be really great too, because it helps to kind of create the ambiance of your product. But I'll add in my product images. For now, I'll just repeat that image of the painting. Give my product a name and a description. For the descriptions, it's really key to add in things like the scale, the material something's made out of, any of that critical information, but you can also add in some flowery descriptions as well. Add in your price. So say this is $500. And then with the physical products, you can add in an unlimited quantity or limited quantity. If this is something like a painting, I probably have one. But if it's, say, a print of a painting, maybe I have a set series. Oops, sorry. So I can set like a series, or I might have a series of 10. Unlimited quantity means that it's going to continue selling the product over and over again. So it won't have any limit. But so you'll probably want to add in a limit, especially if it's a handmade product. If you select that this item can be shipped, that will allow you to add in shipping areas. Whatever you set for your country will show up as the local destination. You can set a price. So say my shipping price for the painting within my country is $20. My price for international is $50. I can also add in specific destinations. So I can add in a country name. So say I ship to Germany regularly, and I know that my set price for Germany shipping is $45. I can set in different countries or destinations there. There we go. There's also this area here for shipping with others. That means the price for shipping when you have multiple items in the cart. So if someone buys multiple pieces, you might not want to charge them the same shipping rate for all the works. It really depends on the kind of thing you're shipping. With a painting, I might want to keep the shipping price like almost at full value because the shipping materials might be more expensive. But if it's something like a photo print where the same thing can go in one envelope, or sorry, many products can go in the same envelope, I might want to set my with others shipping costs lower. Of course, with the format store, you're going to have to check shipping costs with the local shipper of your choice. With the digital products, it is then going to give me an option to upload a file. When someone purchases my digital file, it will email them a secure email link to my product with download access. I go back into the store. The store also will keep track of my orders for me. It will allow me to set some tags for my orders as they go through. One great thing is that it also will allow you to set discounts for your products. So this was a key thing I wanted to show you in terms of the holiday sale. So you'll see I've started a holiday sale mailing list discount. So I open this up, I can set the name. So this is really for my own information, but then it lets you set a discount code. So this is the code that I would send to my mailing list, and then they'd be able to enter this at checkout to get the discount. So I've said holiday sale 10, I can set the availability, so I can set it inactive when my sale is over. And then I have the ability to either set a percentage off, or I can set a flat amount that I want to discount on my products. You can also set it to be on the entire order, so it'll be applied to the total of their cart, or I can set a minimum cost, so before orders over $100, or I can set it for selected products, and then I can go into my products list and set the ones that I want it to apply to. So if you only have specific items in your holiday sale, you can have the discount only apply to those. Another area that I wanted to show on the back end, oops. Is the marketing area. Because in addition to your mailing list, the format will also allow you to set up pop-ups. And one thing that I love using this for is a call to action to subscribe to your mailing list. So for this one, for the purposes of the holiday sale, I said subscribe for 10% off in shop. So if you go into, oops, sorry, all of my tabs. So if I go into marketing, oops, sorry. Yeah, there we go. I can set my heading for my pop-up. I can set the text. I can set the button text. I can set the pop-up style, so it can be a message, or I can have this go directly to the mailing list. So I can have them just add in their mailing list directly there. I can also set the design, so I can change every part of the design. I can set the heading font. I can set the text color for the different areas. I have all those options, but that gives me the ability to kind of build on my mailing list as I go. To track your mailing list, you'd go into the workflow area and into inbox. Oops, sorry, save my changes. And you'll see that your mailing list will appear here. So as your mailing list comes in, you'll have a record of the emails, and it will allow you to export the list, and you can use this with any kind of email service. Any questions so far about the store or any of the tools available?
I've had a few more questions come in, and
Yeah.
one I will actually leave for you to answer because I feel like this is more
Sure.
your area of expertise, but I'll answer two others first. Olivia asked, how do we pre-calculate shipping for different locations? Sometimes I get orders from abroad that are difficult to predict the total cost for. That's a really good question, which I think you answered really well already, but I just also responded that you can use your preferred shipping service to estimate and get a quote for shipping. So I'd recommend doing that so that you have a pretty clear idea of what that will cost. It just depends on what you're shipping and how you're shipping it. And then another member asked, is there a way to advertise a link to a product on a gallery page? So for gallery pages, you can't add hyperlinks to the images in a gallery, but you can add links to any text element, basically. So any text element, any header text, or any caption. And if you go to the Q&A section, you'll also see that I have added a guide on how to do this as well. Now, one question that came through that I think you might be best at answering
Mhm.
is how do you calculate pricing so sales don't massively affect your profit?
Sorry, say that again.
How do you calculate pricing so sales don't massively affect your profit? So, how, I guess, would you set your price so that when you do create a sale, how is
Oh,
it
so you
set
mean
so
like the
that it's not?
discount? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Um, yeah, that's a great question. Um, the short answer is that I usually price my work with some wiggle room on discounting factored in. So if discounts are something that you think you want to offer, I would make sure that you're kind of baking it into your initial pricing. I mean, I find that especially like working with galleries, working with art consultants later in my career, discounting is something that does happen semi regularly. So I would bake a bit of a discounting cushion into pricing, say 10% or so. Um, and then when you're doing these kinds of holiday sales, it makes it, there's more of a comfort level in offering that to your followers. Um, you don't have to offer a discount to for mailing list subscribers. That was just one example of how to use a pop-up. But I do often offer a discount to repeat customers when I am having a sale or something to that effect, because it encourages repeat customers. When you are fostering that kind of relationship with someone, like I have people that have been buying my work for like 15 years. They bought a piece or two from every exhibition I've had. And so when I consider those relationships, I really don't have trouble like discounting. So you can, discounts don't have to be like a wide reaching thing that you advertise on your website. But I think certainly for myself, offering it to my close contacts, my mailing list that I send information out to regularly, I don't have an issue with that because it's sort of investing in that relationship as well. Does that help answer that question?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay.
But JS, if you want to elaborate on that question or have any want to open that up anymore, please feel free to add that.
Yeah,
Um, I'll just answer JS's other question here
sure.
because it's a quick one. Does Format's mailing list use a format supplied email or can you use your own Hotmail, for example?
Yeah.
So, when compiling your mailing list, all of your mailing list submissions, so when people sign up for your mailing list, that's compiled within the workflow section of your format dashboard. When you're ready to send out a mailing list blast to your subscribers, what you can do is export that list and then you can send that mailing list or that email blast out using the service of your choice. So there's no way to do that from the workflow part of format itself. You would need to export that list. So you can use Google for that. You can use Gmail for that. Some people like to use MailChimp. Depends on what works for you and how big your list is and how many subscribers you're managing. But the short answer is yes, you can use any email address. It just depends on what service you're using to email your subscribers.
So it exports it as a CSV, which is compatible with any email service. So you just
Mhm.
add the CSV file to your email that you're sending out.
Great.
Awesome.
Thanks for your questions, everybody. Oh, yes, sorry, just to clarify on this question here. So Format does not send emails out then. No, we don't have an email service built in. You would need to export that list and use a
Yeah.
third-party service for that.
Yeah. Format does offer professional email accounts, which operate through Gmail Workspace, Google Workspace. And so basically you'd have a connection from your Format account to your Google Workspace account. Google Workspace does have a lot of like templating options for emails now. So like that's an option as well. But otherwise, no, like there's no email listserv, like mailing list, or sorry, not mailing list, email sort of fabricator option through Format.
Okay, that's all our questions for now.
Amazing. I mean, that was sort of the bulk of the presentation today around the store. We're hoping to do more webinars in the near future about different kind of portfolio building areas. I will be sending out our deck from today with live links to a bunch of video tutorials on how to build different parts of your site. But like Reagan said, reach out to us anytime if you have questions about building your website at info@format.com. You can also open the chat icon here. We have 24/7 support teams that would be happy to answer your questions at any time. Yeah, I really look forward to seeing everyone's websites.